Right. So once again, welcome you all to this 88th session of Leadership Talks. As you know that these sessions are being organized by India International Education Council and School Lalaji Solutions. India International Education Council is a not-for-profit organization which is working in the field of education. It has collaborators from 12 countries. Uh, IIEC aims to create a better world through education. It also aims to build quality centers for elementary education, which are approachable for all kids, finding best educational practices across the globe and find ways to implement those in Indian institutions. India International Education Council also creating more awareness on hygiene and learning disabilities. It publishes a magazine called World Education Review and many other educational reports. It aims to build 100 chapters in different cities by 2022. It will soon open its membership for institutions and individuals. It also imparts training for leaders, teachers, students, and parents. So as I shared that this is our 88th session. So far we have conducted 87 sessions successfully. We have received 8,114 registrations, 7,224 questions on national education policy. You know, we have seen participation from 5 countries: India, USA, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Nepal. From India, we have seen participation from 19 states and 82 cities. We aim to organize 200 sessions. With this, we would be reaching out to 100,000 educators and 20,000 institutions. 1,000 plus eminent speakers, would be joining us, like today's speakers, to share their perspective on national education policy. Now, I would request all of you, please join me in welcoming our key speaker for this very special 88th session of Leadership Talk. Our first key speaker, Mary Shanti Priyaji. Mary ji is principal with Vista School, Hyderabad, Telangana. She's a distinguished academician with almost 3 decades of experience. She is postgraduate in mathematics, Bachelor of Education, MBA in HR. She has been featured as 10 most influential women in education 2020, which was published by CEO Insight magazine. Uh, uh, Mary Ji was also awarded Avantika Atal Bihari Vajpayee Samman Award of 2020. She has been a regular speaker on various webinars, on different topics like flexible curriculum structure to create multiple exit. Is tech really teaching online learning experience, among others. She holds credentials of writing CBSE maths textbook for class 6, 7th, and 8th. She successfully handled online projects in writing math worksheets for all the classes. She efficiently worked on the project in writing material for Unified Council. So we welcome you, Mary ma'am. It's an honor to have you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, ma'am. Our next key speaker, Rama Sethi, ma'am. Rama, ma'am, is former principal with St. Mark's School, Delhi. She has decades of experience in the field of education. She has, taught 40 years of experience in the same school. She joined as a teacher and retired as principal with the St. Mark's Senior Secondary School, Janakpuri, New Delhi. She has been awarded and recognized for her contribution to the field of education many times. We welcome you, Rama, ma'am. It's a huge honor to have you as a speaker. Thank you for joining. Next key speaker, Garima Mishra ji. Garima ji is principal with Siddhartha International School, Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. She's a distinguished academician with decades of experience. She has been awarded and recognized for her contribution to the field of education many times. We welcome you, Garima ma'am. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome, Garima ji. Our next key speaker, Govind Mishra ji. Govind ji is principal with RL Bhatt Public School, Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. He's a distinguished academician with many decades of experience. We welcome you, Govind sir. Thank you for joining. It's an honor to have you. Our next key speaker, Mr. Sunil Dangi. Sunil ji is co-founder and CEO of eMango Solutions. Sunil ji is an IIT graduate from IIT Kanpur. He is having master's degree in mathematics and scientific computing. He is an actuary, also the member with Institute of Actuary, United Kingdom. He has worked with ICICI Prudential, HSBC, and Financial Risk Advisor at Ernst & Young, India and UK. He's an entrepreneur for last 6 years in telecom, food, and education sector. He has been doing a research on career counseling for last 2 years. Based on that research, they have come up with a wonderful, product called eMango, which is a digital career counseling platform. We welcome you, Sunilji. Thank you for joining. Our next key speaker, Ms. Michelle Amarna. Michelle is manager with Fatado School of Music. Fatado School of Music, India's largest music educator. It is a brand which is synonym to music in our country. It has a 150-year-old rich legacy. FSM has been working with 200 plus leading schools of India. It has trained over 1 lakh students. It owns many renowned titles like Bandit, which is India's largest school level music competition to promote music talents across all schools. Other titles are piano concert, cadence workshops, high jump training, FSM exams, in-center recital, FSM recital. It enjoys partnerships with renowned institutions like Berklee College of Music and NMIMS School of Performing Arts. We welcome you, Michelle. Thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. With this, we enter into the first part of the session, which is the opening remarks. I would request all our speakers if you can have your quick, 1 minute opening remark, and after that, I again come back to you for your main talk session. I'll begin with Mary Shanti Priyaji. Mary ma'am, if we can have your quick 1 minute opening remark.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed a great pleasure to be amidst all of you eminent speakers as well as all the participants. Uh, I'm just one of the speakers looking forward for a lot of takeaway from this session because life is always a learning process. So I'm looking forward more to take away from my parallel speakers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary ji. I'll come back to you. Now, I would request Rama Sethi ma'am. Rama ma'am, if we can have your opening remark. Rama ma'am, do we have your presence? I believe Rama ma'am has not joined yet. So I would request Garima ji, if we can have your opening remark.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Garima Mishra, principal from Siddharth International School, and I'm delighted and thankful to share this platform with such an honorable personalities, though it's my first experience as being a learner and being a speaker. Thank you for giving me such an opportunity, and I'm seeking towards to learn and to give my ideas in this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Garima ji. Uh, can I have the opening remark from Govind Mishra ji? Govind ji, do we have your presence? I think Govind ji has not joined us yet. I would request Michelle, if we can have your opening remark.
Yes. Hi. So yes, I'm here from Ferraro School of Music. I'll be quickly running through how music is a very vital part of the development and of a child, and how it will be beneficial for in the new education policy, and what FSM does basically. So looking forward to even take away a lot of things from the co-speakers right now. So yes, thank you so much, and yes,
Thank you, Michelle. I'll come back to you. So with this, we come to the main part of this session. I'll come back to all our key speakers. All these speakers would be allotted 8 to 10 minutes. Before I invite our first speaker, I just would like to share the learnings which we have had during our 87 sessions. Almost every speaker, every participant said that this is a wonderful document. This national education policy has a potential to place India, at that coveted position of, in terms of Gyan Vishwaguru. But almost everyone, every participant, raised doubt over the execution. Do we really have the capacity, capability, and intent to execute this document, in toto, or in that literal sense? So I would request all our speakers, while sharing your interpretation on national education policy, if you can also share some kind of roadmap or some suggestions which we all can try to execute at our respective domains. So with this, I would request our first speaker, Mary Shanti Priya ma'am. Mary ma'am, if we may begin with you, over to you, your interpretation on national education policy.
Once again, good afternoon to everyone. As all of us know that education is no longer just information and knowledge. It's gone beyond knowledge and information. It is to do more with connectivity, to work collaboratively, to work more creatively. So I would say that the new education policy has aligned itself very much, very closely with this, mind frame, or I would say thoughts. And it is aligning itself with the 21st century skills also. If you have looked into the earlier policies which the government has made in, it was more focused on the access and having the equity with a less emphasis on the quality of education. But now when you look at the current policy, you will see that it is emphasizing more on the access, equity, quality, affordability, as well as accountability. It is also emphasizing on a lot of good human values, which are very, very important. It is emphasizing on the ethics, models, and value systems which are needed for a good individual to come out into the society. Now, keeping these things in mind, as my previous speaker said, every speaker who came in said the policy is really very good. And if really executed to the core, it will be one of the best policies. I align my thoughts also similarly to the same thing. Having said that, all of us, including me, are with the question mark as to how will the execution go on. If I'm not wrong, I think our past experiences says that we had introduced CCE where we had a lot of gaps. When we are actually settling down, we said bye-bye to CCE. Now we are all geared up for the new education policy. What government is telling, what CBSE is working on is one aspect. As my previous speaker said, it is not just the government, it is we also as school leaders need to take the initiative. So keeping these thoughts in mind, as a school principal at our school, we are working on experiential learning. Now, if you ask me what is that experiential learning, I will tell you small experiences which I've encountered, which made me feel that yes, this is required. I'm sure all the people who are present over here, if suppose there is a leakage in the tap, I'm sure none of you would know how to repair it or stop the leaking. If there is a small fuse gone off in the house, we really don't know how to fix it. We need an electrician, we need a plumber. There is a virus, I don't know how to format my system. I really require help. I can start, I can connect, I can conduct webinars and all that stuff. These are the need of the hours. So these are the things, skills, which I'm sure every individual would require to become self-reliant. So aligning ourselves with the educational policy, which talks about more of skill-based learning. And in India, we are the ones who are more of rote learners rather than the skill-based learning people. So we have planning to start these courses as a work education at our school. I'm actually working with a lot of people to get a curriculum frame for our own school. So that, every child from grade 6 to grade 12, once they leave the portal of Vista School, they will be equipped with these basic required school. I'm sure many schools given work education as SCPW, stitching, tailoring, and basic cooking skills, culinary skills, all of them give. Yes, they are there already existing. Beyond than that, what we are working is how to work with your network issues, how to work with your, assembling a system, which is not that difficult, which is quite simple. And every school is equipped with a lab. We don't require additional extra infrastructural facilities for this. We can convert our physics lab into a lab which can help us with the electrical equipments. We can convert our chemistry lab, which has got the piping, watering, everything, into a plumbing area. Our computer lab can support with a small corner, which can help the students in formatting, assembling, understanding the simple components of a computer. If a system gets heated up, if the that string of the fan, which actually helps the CPU in cooling, if that is broken, how do you amend? Small things is where we are looking into. So as a school, yes, we are totally banking on the CBSE for their guidelines as to how to go about with the new education policy, which talks about various levels right from the entry to the exit, along with empowering the faculty too. So we as a school, we thought we will wait for those guidelines. Along with that, let's also empower ourselves. It's always best you empower yourself rather than wait for someone to come in and handhold you and take you across. Again, yesterday I've attended a meeting with the CBSE by the CEO of Kakinada, which we belong to, the region. They're also working on framing of questions too. So I feel that this time, the policy which is coming up, they're not just working on giving a document, it is also working on the implementation and the execution. The beauty of any document would be if it is executed beautifully. Making a document is very simple. Executing it is where the challenge actually lies in. I think it's the ownership of each one of us again morally, socially, we are responsible, being the citizens of the country, that we look into those minute details and support and work with a give and take policy. So I think with this is what I would want to end up. Further, I think most of us have gone through the policy, read through it. It will be like retracing the same gyan just about what the policy is talking about. So I thought I would be sharing what I have taken away from the policy, which is skill based learning, on which I am seriously working on. So that will be my giveaway to my society and my students. Thank you so much for having me on board.
Thank you. Priya ma'am, you talked about experiential learning. You also said that in your assessment, NEP is a wonderful opportunity for ourselves to empower educators. You know, so we at one side, obviously, we all are waiting for those detailed guidelines. But apart from that, we all can start something at our end without even looking for those guidelines. In fact, many education leaders who have participated, they have maintained that many good schools across country, they're already implementing these these kind of points which are mentioned in policy at their part. Many people believe that the biggest challenge would be for the rural school or the government schools or the budget schools. Many people have raised challenges like that. Teachers training, finance would be a problem for those schools. So for good schools, the proactive schools implementing this policy, educators believe that won't be a big challenge. But as you said, like the beauty lies in execution. And I recall one very interesting quote. you know uh, policies are policies, documents are documents, promises are promises, but the execution is the only reality. Right. So with this, I thank you, Mary ma'am, for joining and participating. I'll come back to you with questions. So with this, now
Sure.
I would request Garima Mishra ji, Garima ji, your perspective, your interpretation on national education policy.
Thank you. First of all, the new education policy can be seen as a step in the right direction. It has been able to identify the loopholes, the need for a more practical approach to education, and in the following few minutes, I have taken a step back in my own school and identified the most prominent problems and how we are tackling them. If we talk about this, I would like to say that modern students have unprecedented digital literacy, which, along with the influence of their peers, in the reason behind their drive to succeed, resulting in high expectations from schools and institutions. The adoption of technology and subsequent changes in the education sector are a direct result of the changing attitudes, need, and expectations of the modern student. The current generation of a student has a dynamic style of learning, as they do not prefer being passive receivers of information only and require more immersion and engagement with their learning environment. Suppose, like, as an educator, now we need to wear more hats or more responsibility. The responsibility as the adapter, sometimes we have to be play as a communicator, sometimes we have to become a learner, the visionary, the leader, model, collaborator, and moreover the risk taker. Because now the students have many of the different views with their different aspects. Suppose we are conducting a class. Every student have their different views towards that particular chapter or the particular topic which we are going through with. So sometimes what I feel, to fit in their demand, we need to perform that, or we need to explain that thing with various of the activities, sometimes by segregating themselves and giving various topics to them. Sometimes we need to conduct some quiz classes so that the involvement of the participants should be more active. These are some of the things by which I saw that the whole class can be tackled easily. Okay. The qualitative abilities of the teachers are what make an institution to do better than others. Employing highly qualified faculty is an effective way to meet the expectations of the student, and also increasing applications Qualified teachers will not only attract more students, but will also reinforce the positive image of the school. If I talk about my topic, where there are many of the challenges being an educator which we face in the field of education, what I feel is that the age old size fits for all teaching method has long outgrown. Teachers are now expected to personalize their teaching methodologies and assessments depending on the learning styles of students, laying the foundation for student-centered learning. Various learning styles clubbed together with fixed periods of time can make personalization little challenging. What like to make it clear identification of learning styles through real-time observation and assessments, psychological and general. This will help us to come up with such of the situations where what I need that the personal skill or the personalization between the teacher and a student is needed to be clubbed more. If we talk about the right use of technology, which is quite challenging, see there are every situation or every task or everything has some good or some bad. So if we talk about this, then firstly and foremost thing is that the right use of technology, which we need to keep in our mind that digitalization in classroom extend to more in-centric adaptations such as flipped learning, mobile learning, AI-based decision making, data management, e-learning, visual learning, animations, digital assessments, record, etc., etc., etc. There are much more. With coding being a skill that is most sought after school, it should not lag in introducing the same at an early stage for the learners. What I feel that the coding will be more helpful to our young learners. So as to better prepare them according to the demands of the industry, it will help them. And classroom management is another key which needs to be focused properly, because if we talk about classroom management, it's often misunderstood to be as simple as keeping the class in control. But no, I think in reality, teachers are required to ensure that their teaching strategies keep students of different learning styles and behavior from getting distracted, and that they are organized, attentive, focused, and interested in the classroom and are indeed learning and not merely listening in the class. This is the one problem which is generally come to manage the class properly, because every student has their different personality, different views, and different interests. So make them what I feel to make them feel hard and understood, heard and understood, notice and appreciation, good behavior and comfort bad behavior respectfully is needed. Again, open environment in the classroom is also required. Students tend to learn better when the classroom culture intimate, uh, doesn't intimidate them proper. These are some of the views like rut knowledge. We should not go in this like when students only memorize things. They do they do so for exams and not gain knowledge about something new. What we can do in that. It is not an effort made towards understanding a new phenomenon, but dedicated work to craft the best possible answer to score the maximum amount of answers. This can only be created when their interest will going to be increased. The level of interest needed to be increased in that. So to come out of with the problem of rut knowledge, we have to deal with certain challenges like handling tasks related to the lessons being taught to be carried out while in class, and helping a student out with their queries and concerns is a method that we have adopted at our institution and is providing to do wonders for our little learners. I will not going to take much of the time and I will going to sum it up that the new education policy, with its focus on the citizen of tomorrow, is a step in the right direction, with a focus on vocational education and industry-based learn training and education. The future is in our hands to carve, and the sooner we adapt, the brighter it is going to be. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Garimaji, for that passionate talk. And you talked about the importance of teachers' motivation. They need to have that, more flexibility and absolutely teachers. You also suggested some ways how teachers can, create more effective classrooms, or they can put more effectiveness to their teaching methodology. They need to personalize their teaching. You talked about. You also said like, by giving recognition to students and creating encouraging environment inside the classrooms. Classrooms can become more joyful, and the environment become more motivating for all the students, all the involved stakeholders. So thank you, Garimaji. I'll come back to
Thank
you
you.
with question.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
with this, I would request Michelle from Fatado School of Music. Michelle, you know, you belong to the art education world. Music in particular. In fact, this NEP talks about music. It has mentioned music more than 20 times. In the document. So it has given a great attention to music in particular and co-curricular activities in general. So, what are your perspective, your assessment to this from this national education policy document, Michelle?
Yes, so thank you so much. And even as you said right now, so arts has been made a very major part of the new education policy, which is a very great step because so in the early age, um, the right brain, left brain development happens, and with music and arts inculcation, it will be more beneficial because up till now we used to only do a mug up and watch thing where the student used to learn, and without any thinking we used to go forward. But with the inculcation of music, music helps to refine your gross and fine motor skills. So that would help the student to develop in a much holistic way. So that is one thing. And with the new education, at least we see that the hobbies are also given equal importance. So with the inculcation of music, what I can say is basically you have uh, a scope, as you we are looking at a better future, at a better tomorrow. So basically we are creating those citizens today. So you give that choice to the students, and with those subjects like music, arts, and drama being inculcated in the early years, their brains will be more you know refined to make good choices of tomorrow, is what I can say. And music has, coming from the music background, music has a effect both on children and adults. So it has worked tremendously on adults. So on children, it will be definitely a larger effect. So that's what I can say of music as of now. And with the new education policy being in place, all I can hope and see is that tomorrow we'll be looking at better citizens, is what I can say. And I'll quickly run through what FSM is been doing all these years also. So allow me to just share my screen. Yes. So, Fatados is one of the major companies, like one of the renowned companies that has been selling music instruments in the country. They have been since almost 150 years. And Fatado School of Music has been since 2011, and it's one of India's largest music educators in the country. So that is about FSM. And right now we have touch points, more than 145 schools, 15 plus centers, and we teach more than 75,000 students. So schools, basically, we have tie-up with schools, we share our curriculum with the school, and we implement our curriculum in these schools. In the centers, it's more like a hobby class. So people come and learn with us at the centers. And these are the schools that we've been associated with, where we've been sharing our curriculum. We've been seeing the progress in students whenever we have music, wherever we have music introduced with them. As spoken before, Bandit and Cadence, these are our two platforms where children come and perform. Bandit is inter-school competition where students form a band, children form a band and they perform. And Cadence is for the centers. Similarly, Cadence is for the centers where the center students, they come together and they form a band and they perform. These are the other curated events by FSM: piano concert, Beat It. We have Trinity exams. We have high jams where students from different localities, they come together and they perform together. They jam together, basically. So that is the thing. As I was saying, our curriculum is one of the award-winning curriculum where we've come together and brought how music, how we can make a curriculum out of music. And we've been introducing this in various schools. Right now, as I said, we have more than 145 schools who have our curriculum in practice right now. This is one of the pictures of our school setup, where how FSM teaches at schools, where the teacher, it's almost 20 students per class, and we have different instruments like keyboard, guitar, music theory, and etc. So that's one example. And even as we introduce this in schools, we help students to see the pathway ahead. So in in that whole effect, we've partnered with two major institutions. One is NMIMS and one is Berkeley. NMIMS, we have a degree with them where if someone wants to learn music professionally, we have bachelors of performing arts in music in association with NMIMS. Berkeley is one of the renowned institutions all over the world, where if you want to learn contemporary music, you need to go to Berkeley. And so what we do is we are triangulating credits where our students can go and learn in Berkeley, basically. So these are the two major institutions. This is how FSM is covered in various news channels, and because of curriculum, because how the whole lockdown thing has happened, so and how we've come out of that. So coming to the online section of our FSM, so it's called FSM Buddy, where it covers the whole arts category. We have almost 70 plus teachers and almost whatever dealing with the right brain development, that comes in FSM Buddy. So you have drawing, you have music, of course, you have languages also, and in the new education policy also they made language as a part of the curriculum, like teaching as a part of the curriculum. So that is one. And we have the age group of almost 8 to 35. Of
Michelle,
course,
your voice is breaking. Michelle, your voice is breaking.
hello,
Your
am I
voice is
audible?
cutting. Yeah, you are audible, but your voice is coming in a breakout form.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yes, am I audible now? I mean, is the voice clear?
yes, the voice quality, I believe, is still the same. It's breaking
Okay.
continuously. So either I would request if you you
Okay.
your internet bandwidth
I'll just drop my.
challenge, right?
Okay. Yes. So, Okay, so basically, that's how FSM has been with the online platform where, we have the age group from 8 to 35, but we also have, you know, it's not restricted to age. We have people who are 70 years who come and learn with us. So that's all about it. And all we hope from this new education policy is basically that tomorrow we'll be seeing much better citizens. We'll be seeing much more of music and more of people who will love what they're doing basically. So that's what I can tell you about NEP right now and about the arts section.
Right. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing that information. With this, we come to the last part of the session with the question part. We have received a few questions on national education policy. I would request all our speakers, Mary ji, Garima ji, and Michelle, if I may present these questions to you.
Yes,
And
please.
before I started presenting these questions, I'll just take a minute in explaining what exactly we have been doing at school Lalaji Solutions. So I'll take a minute, and after that I'll start presenting questions. So I would share my screen here to share more details. Some of you are already aware with the School Lalaji. We are India's largest one-stop solution platform for educational institutions. We are present in 42 cities, working with somewhere around 4,500 institutions. We help educational institutions in three ways. We help them in buying right thing from right people at right price. We also help institutions in selling their old items like buses, generators, their old furniture. We also help institutions in raising money, that in terms of fee financing or loans or some other ways. Why there is a need for a platform like School Lalaji Solutions? When you already have your team, you have your old suppliers for almost everything. You are already getting good discount. At least you believe so, and your team is efficiently negotiating and finding partners. I believe that is not that is not I would say a common solution, common answer for everyone. That is not, in fact, the right answer for everyone. We believe that we have suppliers for everything. We believe that we are getting good discount. We believe that our team is capable of negotiating with the most efficient way with all the suppliers. But this is not the right case. When a school supplier, education supplier reaches out to you, be it anyone, maybe the insurance supplier, maybe the smart class supplier, maybe the content supplier, anyone, it has already added 30% of its cost. So that 30% cost is already there. So we come into the picture, we understand your school, and that is one challenge. Second challenge is there are thousands of companies, there are thousands of unique products and services which are in the which are in the domain available. But the one big challenge, it is not possible for every company, it is not possible for every school leader, for for Mary ji or for Garima ji to to take out time and meet everyone, to understand their products in detail, to compare all the available products. So here we come, and we understand your school, we understand your taste, we understand your actual requirement, your budgetary limitations, and accordingly we meet with companies, we understand their product in detail, and we negotiate with them, all on a bulk negotiation basis, and then we filter those companies and connect right companies with you. We help institutions in different ways. We help institutions in smart class procurement or uniform procurement, insurance. We are supplying diesel to many schools in Delhi NCR at a cheaper rate than market price. Solar plant we are installing in many schools, in colleges, language labs, security solutions, furniture, recruitment, music classrooms, healthcare, robotics, STEM, STEAM labs, career counseling, another solution, stationery, digital marketing, IT solutions, educational tour, generators, learning tools, and finance. And we take the guarantee that we'll save at least 5 to 7% of your overall expenditure. Just one example, in 2019, we saved 2 crore 40 lakh rupees for in different schools in bus insurance only. These are some major highlights. We've done 8 megawatt solar installation, 3,000 plus bus insurance, 400 plus smart classrooms, 2,000 plus cameras, 350 plus training programs, 56 old buses we sold from one school to other. Uniform in 42 schools we installed. By the end of 2021, we aim to reach out to 10,000 institutions. You know, so we need your support, your guidance, your blessings. So with this, I'll end my talk here. I'll start presenting questions. I would request Mary, if I may present first question to you.
Yes, please.
Right, ma'am. The this question has come from Miss Priya Sareen. Priya ji is a secondary coordinator with AVN Vidya International School, Hyderabad. So question from Priya ji says, when it would get implemented? What are the timelines?
Timeline as of now from the stakeholders says it is 2023 because 21 was where, I mean, 2020 was where it was released. 21, 22 is where all the planning, documenting, implementation, execution things will be coming into picture. 2023 is where the exact, implementation of the NEP will be starting.
Absolutely. So thank you, Mary ma'am. I'll come back to you. And now I would request Garima ji, if I may present this question to you. This has been asked by Miss Arshia Anjum. Arshia ji is a PRT teacher with the Vista School, Hyderabad. The question says, does the No Child Left Behind Act really promote inclusive education?
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am, it's a 5-mark question. So, don't treat it as 1-mark question. So please elaborate.
Okay. Fine, for sure, for sure. Just a sec, I will going to elaborate it to you, like what actually.
I'll add one another part to this, ma'am. Absolutely that act promote inclusive education. But where are the practical challenges? Why we are not able to, include everyone then? If that act is a good thing, like obviously it's promote inclusive education, but what are the challenges and how we can overcome those challenges? Garima ji, over to you.
Okay, like what I'll say is practical realities, poor fun, poor families, and all such things are the problems where we cannot reach.
Yes, Garima ji, you are audible. I believe we have lost the connection with Garima ji. So Garima ji was talking about the challenges, why we are not able to achieve that inclusivity. So she talked about 2 important points. One was the funding. I'll come back to Mary ma'am. Mary ma'am, if you can, share your perspective, why we are not able to achieve that inclusivity when we have
Actually,
Shiksha Abhiyan, we have so many such abhiyans or such policies.
The question has come from a teacher from my school itself, and it's a very difficult question to answer, actually, to be very frank. Yes, the policy is good. As I said, documents are very beautiful. Execution is where the challenge and the beauty lies in when you actually know how to execute. And in country like ours, especially in India, where we have a lot of poverty struck, there are still places where, getting your day-to-day bread and butter itself is a challenge. People who send their children for child labor, though it is against, there's an act where the children should not be sent in for. So we need to reach to that crux of minute thing. So which we are finding it really very difficult. Ma'am, you want to speak? Should I stop? Garima, ma'am?
No.
You complete, ma'am. Mary ji, you please complete. I'll come back to Garima ji after that.
Okay. So, reaching out to that crux is a practical challenge. There are quite a lot of myths also which are there. Still, we are hellbound with certain kind of superstitions. Breaking them is again a challenge. Making a person who has never been literate or people who are living in the tribal area, remote area, who don't even know what is literacy, which is actually an alien word to them, to make them understand and to make them connect is where all the challenge lies in. So yes, policy wise, if you talk document wise, it's a beautiful policy. It needs to cater to, but yes, we have not reached to that 10% because of all those challenges which are there. So again, it is a very big social cost. People need to spend time, as my moderator said very rightly, we have to take the initiative. So when this things reaching out to remote, schools like ours in cities should be given the ownership or should be roped into by the government to reach out to certain area where we should be given that kind of flexibility. If maybe we can make in such kind of networking, I think that would help. Arshia, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for supporting me as I have lost my connection all of a sudden while answering this. You have answered it very well. I do even agree that there are some of the certain limitations. As a people of India, we have much of the poverty around us. Every single tribal area or a rural area we cannot connect with, and moreover again we have a problem of literacy and poverty thus leads that every student cannot come up with the education policy, because moreover in many families people do prefer that rather than getting my child educated, it's better that they can owe their bread and butter, and for that they used to send their children to some of the place where they can or easily learn the life-based skills, and that too help them to owe bread and butter. But by just adding that the knowledge or the material of teaching should be more over on industrial based learning, it should keeping the view in mind. Practically when we're going to start with this, we do face many of the problems and we'll definitely going to come up with the solutions, but here in paper it is good, but when we'll go for practical it may occurs with many of the problems which need to be sorted out soon.
Right.
Thanks, ma'am, for
Absolutely.
support.
Yeah, and Mary ma'am, this was the classic example of collaboration between, when Kanpur, lost the connection or faced some challenge in the network. So Hyderabad stood up and offered his support to complete the answer. So thank you, Garima ji, and thank you, Mary ma'am. I'll come back to you. We have many more other questions. I would like to connect, Michelle, with this question. Michelle, as you represent art education music in particular, so how do you perceive the evolution of art in coming time post this NEP implementation?
So as I said, we'll be having much with the inculcation of music. People will be more happy to do their job. So of course, in the field of music, we currently have a lot of things, and in the future, it will be more encouraged, is what I feel. We have, currently music therapy, we have music in production, even your Apple iPhones, the music, your ringtones are made by someone. So in the future, definitely there's a lot happening in the arts sector, and by the new education policy, by implementing that in the new education policy, I definitely think that we'll see much more, definitely we'll see much more competition and much more jobs in that whole sector. Yes.
Absolutely. So thank you, Michelle, for that. And with this, I would come back to you know Mary Shanti Priyaji or Mary ma'am. If I may present another question to you.
Yeah, please.
This question has come from Delhi. Miss Subhashini Prabhakar ji. She's a coordinator with the Ramjas Public School, Delhi. The question says, what kind of training, you visualize for primary teachers, to upgrade themselves, to teach post NEP implementation.
When it is coming to the primary teachers, it's first to give in an emotional connect. I would say that those age group kids are very, very vulnerable and very closely connect to the teachers. And that is a next level of the foundation. Yes, as per the NEP, the plus 5 years, which is the preschool and then 1 and 2, that age is actually a foundation age. That age is where all the impressions are formed and it's carry forward for the rest of their life. That age is where you can develop a liking for the subject. So for a teacher to get into that kind of emotional connect is very, very important. So impressions formed, I don't like maths because my maths teacher is very strict. I'm talking about maths because I being a maths teacher myself. So, that's how the impression comes into, because the subject requires that kind of seriousness. So people automatically tune themselves for that. But at smaller age, first thing is to give them more of an emotional connect. Next would be learning by doing rather than just memorizing. Third would be ensuring that the teachers get into the practice of making the child read a lesson, leaving math alone, the rest of the subjects, read a lesson, break up the lesson into chunks, and get into question answer techniques or discussion techniques. These are the techniques which the teacher requires more, because by doing so, the child will get into learning of questions like more on critical thinking, application, analytical based questions. So, a teacher of primary should be given more emphasis on emotional connect with the children, making their teaching more of hands-on, breaking them into a smaller chunks and delivering to them is what is required. I think that is what is more needed, rather just get into the class, hold my chalk and get on to my lesson. So if
Right.
I would be given the authority, I would say these are the basic skills which are needed to empower that wing.
Right. Absolutely. So thank you, Mary ma'am. I'll come back to you. With this, I would request Garima ma'am, if I may present another question to you. This has been asked by K. Swatika Reddy. Miss Reddy is a science teacher with the CGR International School, Hyderabad. So Miss Reddy's question says, how would be the assessment, used in educational policy making? What would be the role of assessment, or what kind of assessment, like what kind of future assessment? Many people believe that assessment would get changed after this NEP implementation. We are going to have more, I would say, kind of I would say a more engaging kind of assessment where different aspects of students personality would be assessed. So what are your perspective and interpretation on that?
Okay, it's not only about the pen paper policy. What we need to do is, suppose we organize science exhibition where we need to ask our children to make more of the um, models which are actively performing the task. Suppose now in every school, or many of the school are conducting science exhibition, that all, even the science, in a subject of science, that students do need to give more over the practical based knowledge rather than the bookish knowledge, where the involvement should be in a based of industry policing, like whatever the skills they have, and that should be policed properly through the curriculum of science to implement as the future industry. It's just all these things are come up, like if we talk about it, a skill based assessment is needed moreover in the field of the science, where in physics we can go through and we can approach with the various active models, though the same with other things, like if suppose in a science exhibition, I have seen many of the students are having the knowledge, and even keenly they are actively participating and taking much of the interest while performing with their different types of models, and which are helping them to explain the task that they have made. They have sometimes they made welding machines, sometimes they are coming up with the new ideology of 3D dimensional, and many more things they are presenting to the parents, and they're taking keen interest in that. This way, the teachers can help them out to more involvement of the class in an active way, making resources available and letting them explore about what they actually want to learn in the subject.
Right. Thank you, Garimaji. I'll come back to you. Maryji, if I may present another question to you.
Yeah, please.
This is a this is a very important question. This has been asked by Miss Vanita. She's a teacher with the CGR International School, Hyderabad. So Vinitaji's question is very direct. Like, what would be the role of teacher? In coming time, let's say 5 years or 10 years down the line. I'll add some more part of that. Like post this COVID world, when teaching, obviously teachers role has been very important role and will remain an important part. But the school teachers role. Do you think that so many tech tools are available now? So many tech platforms are available now. So, what is your assessment? Do you think like the school teachers role is going to get diluted in coming time with all available other resources?
Absolutely no. I think all the teachers can be rest assured no one can replace a teacher. No matter how advanced the technology is, no matter how much knowledge or content is available on the net or the websites XYZ areas, there needs to be a person. We are all humans. Children are living things. They need a humane touch, which can be given by a teacher, a proper translation. If that was the case, so many schools wouldn't have evolved in India, first of all. If you look at the statistics over the past, the number of schools which have come in, I'm sorry not to put anyone at stake. This has become one of the best business industry existing education. Trust me, I tell you, this is the best one. So if that was a sinking ship, people wouldn't have invested into that. So, and your profession, yes, we call it very noble, but and I can understand from the bottom line what all we go through. I am a teacher. I was a teacher and will always be a teacher. So I can connect very well with that. So your profession will always be one of the ideal profession, because it is always said, teachers make professions. You are the one who nurtures, who give rise to different kinds of professions. So it will always be there. Yes, where you have to upgrade yourself, to enhance yourself, to get tech comfortable is what is the need of the hour. If you're not able to do so, then there will be surely a replacement. So upgrading your skills is something which is mandate. You cannot say I'm scared of technology anymore. I'm sure all of you must be now better tech savvy than me, because the way the teachers conduct the online sessions, the way they use the different kinds of apps and technology and the gadgets, it is immense kind of a way they have expanded themselves in their knowledge and different kinds of area. So teacher who is always willing to learn will always be sustaining in the industry. Teacher who says I cannot upgrade, I can't do this, that is when the replacement will be coming into. So nothing can replace a teacher if you are in par with the need of the hour. I think I've answered
Right.
your question.
Absolutely. In fact, I recall another famous quote which one industrialist told me a while back, that technology never replaces human beings. These are the human beings who use technology efficiently, replaces those human beings who don't use technology that efficiently, or that
Absolutely.
that that creates a challenge. So you very well said, Mary ma'am, that teachers need to upgrade themselves. Teachers need to adapt themselves with the new age solutions available, and absolutely no one can replace teachers. I find myself in complete agreement with you. So with this, I would request Garima ma'am, if I may present another question to you. This would be the last question for the day. Uh, Garima ji, this has been asked by Ms. Rashri Bajpayee. She's a teacher with Scholar Mission School, Kanpur. The question says, what would be the changes to our curriculum and eventually learning outcomes post NEP implementation? So, what changes you see in case of curriculum, Garima ji?
Okay. If we talk about curriculum activities, moreover, I would like to give an example of a school in Japan. Suppose when we talk about those, they believe on self-reliance. Means after the school, each and every student, each and every child is cleaning and mopping their classrooms. They are keeping the things in a proper. They are doing every single task in their school premises, as they are not given with the facilities of peon or aya or the other helpers. This helps them to be self-reliance, to increase the mode of discipline, and to increase the mode of
valuing the work of others as well as to depend on the self-reliance. These are some of the curriculum activities which are needed to imbibe in our little ones. Other things that should be based on the is as what I believe in, the personalization of teacher and a student, where each and every student has their different qualities. So we have to enhance those qualities of the students, where we have to particularly work on the basis of their interest. That suppose some is good in arts, so we can support them to gain the knowledge of a sketch, to gain the knowledge of coloring, to make them perfection in their particular work. So the curriculum activities should involve in the way where each and every student can take the benefits of those curriculum activities. I think I have clear my view.
Yes,
of
yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely, Garima ma'am. Thank you for that. With this, we come to the concluding part of this session. This has been a very, a special session, the kind of engagement we have had during this session. So I thank, Mary Shantipriya ma'am, and I thank Garima ji and, Michelle for joining and making this session truly special. And, before, I request our key speakers for your concluding remarks. I would request, while sharing your concluding remark, if you can also share, this very interesting practice we have established, that if you get a chance to become a minister of education of our country, let's say for one day, so what would be your priority, what you would like to execute during that one day ministership? So Michelle, if I may ask you to begin your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you become minister of education?
Yes. So it's a very big role, but if I would become, then one thing is to implement the policy, like in the crux, in the 2 tier and 3 tier cities also, because that's one thing. There's a whole lot of things that go behind that. So, but yes, that would be one major implementation, because if that is not done, like, to if the benefits have not gone to everyone, then I think it's no point. So yeah, that is what I would do. I think the first thing I would do, being a education minister. And thank you so much. It was a great time have being here. So yeah.
Thank you, Michelle, for that. Thank you for participating. Now I would request Garima Mishra ji, ji, if I may ask you the same, your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you become Minister of Education for one day? Garima ji.
Okay. If I'll become a minister for one day, first of all, I would like to look up the opportunities of inclusive, holistic, and practical, bringing with backward areas where we need to, as earlier it was asked, that how can we touch each and every single child for to enroll in education process. That what my priority will be, that how we can connect with those backward areas where is still so much of the illiteracy is still left out, and how we can come up with these problems. My part of working on the basis of this only, that is inclusive, holistic, and practical, bringing with the backward areas.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Garima ma'am, and for participating and for sharing that. And your presence was special. And now I would request Mary Shanti Priyaji, Mary ma'am, your concluding remark, and what would be your priority if you become a Minister of Education of our country for one day?
It's a very difficult question to answer, actually, for one day, that too. So if it is one day, I would surely say that I will be working on more, skill-based learning in our country, and get rid of this rote learning. Reaching out, I don't know whether I will be in a position to reach out to everyone in a day. But yes, of course, I will be emphasizing more on the skill wherever the schools are. Though we have ample number of schools in our country, most of our schools, again, emphasize on the rote learning, marks-driven craziness, running after the marks. That's what we teach our students also. That is where I'm going to break that myth. That's all I think I can do in a day. And my conclusion is yes, NEP has brought in quite a lot of hope to all of us. Yeah, government can make policies and give out to us. Again, it is to us, our ownership, how well we execute it. So again, it is individuals, each individual's responsibility to execute it to the core. So everyone needs to put in their heart, soul, and mind into it, so that the policy which has been drafted so beautifully gets implemented equally beautifully. Thank you so much for having me for the day. It was indeed a great pleasure to interact with people. I hope we were able to at least clarify a couple of doubts and questions. Thank you so much once again.
Absolutely, absolutely. Your presence was special, Mary ma'am, and I thank you all for that. I thank Mary ma'am, Garima ji, Michelle for participating. Though a few of our participants could not join us today, and thank you other participants for joining us, for being with us during the session. So this is the end of the day. We'll be in touch. Big thanks for joining and making this session truly special. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sachin, Nanu.